Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The Curse of La Llorona. Well, alrighty then. Let's get on with the review, shall we? The Curse of La Llorona follows the story of the Garcia family after Anne Garcia works on a family's case that goes wrong. And while the law looks to the mother in this domestic case, all eyes soon turn to the old fable of La Llorona. Now, all us little brown kids, we know about La Llorona already. This is an old tale used on many a Mexican child. So, of course, I was pretty excited to see an old tale from my heritage on the big screen in a major motion picture. Plus, this story has been used to keep children in line for decades, but also to scare them. So the perfect candidate to be the latest installment in the Conjuring universe. But does the film live up to the terrifying hype of the weeping woman herself? Well, I had a lot of fun with it, so there's that. So of course, we're going to kick things off with our positives. First of all, I loved all of the respect paid to this old fable, this tale of the weeping woman, and I thought that they really told it well and made sure the film, the story, everything was rooted in Mexico, and the actual story itself was authentic to the fable, and I thought it was all done really, really well, actually. They do a great job of getting you up to speed if you aren't familiar with La Llorona already, without just doing huge exposition dumps onto you. Now, of course, there is exposition, especially as we prep to battle her and really get all of our spiritual weapons together, but it did feel organic. And at first, I was going to criticize the fact that our family was somewhat Spanish, Hispanic looking, but they weren't really. I mean, we have Linda Cardinelli in the lead role. Again, it worked out to have this kind of mixed family. They're Garcia, and their deceased father was clearly of some sort of Hispanic heritage. But having the central character not know of the tale, I think actually was an addition to the film itself. Linda Cardinelli is a great actress. I usually really enjoy her, and I really enjoyed her here as well. And these children, these two child actors, I thought did a fantastic job. In particular, the little boy was great in this movie. Velasquez was also very good in the movie. She provided a little bit more camp, but really somebody who was terrified of the character, and I enjoyed her. Raymond Cruz was also fantastic. He didn't have a whole lot of depth to his character, but he provided levity and comedy in just the right amount at just the right places. And then we have Tony Amendola, who plays a priest well and is actually the tie-in to the rest of the Conjuring universe in the film. I also think the film does a really good job of building up that tension and delivering effective jump scares throughout the film. And delivering pretty effective jump scares throughout. Now, I think there's enough creep factor flowing that give payoff to the jump scares. They don't all feel cheap, while there certainly are cheap ones there. Many of them are earned, and I think that's the key to a good jump scare, is the build up, the build up, the build up, and then there's a good payoff. And I think a lot of times this film did have a good payoff. And that's because they did a wonderful job at building tension, building suspense, building up that horror. Plus, there were some great messages about faith versus religion and what that means, giving up church versus giving up God. And I thought that was all really sophisticated and lent a new kind of perspective to the pastor or priest coming in to banish out evil spirits. It gave it just enough of a twist while keeping it grounded in a more spiritual level. La Llorona herself was extremely intimidating. I don't think they overdid her character and her face in particular, because that's the part that could have gotten super campy and did just a little bit. But they kept it hidden enough and revealed her in the right moments where you weren't just like, okay, now I'm not intimidated anymore. This is jump the shark. It's ridiculous. I'm over it. Like the nun did. So what did not work so well with La Llorona? Well, the face shots were a little bit too much and too distracting. The film falls into several modern day horror tropes, one of which is just getting super close in on people's face as they yell or scream. And a lot of times it just came off as cheesy rather than effectively scary or eliciting scares. Now, they do this with La Llorona, and those are the moments where she looks the worst. I mean, the CG and the effects on her face are okay, but when we get it real close up and like her screaming right at the camera, it's too much. And that really cheapened her scariness as a character for me personally. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes just showing the creature moving through the shadows and even having them pull or showing the hand gets the job done. We don't need to see that face screaming right at you. It's like, oh, okay, too much. But then we also had Linda Cardinelli screaming right in the camera, and it came off as more cheesy. We had the children screaming right in our face, and it's like, okay, this isn't scary. This doesn't make me feel anything except a little bit of cringe. And as I said before, there's a lot of jump scares. This film relies heavily on the jump scare. Now, a lot of them paid off for me pretty well. But a decent chunk of them are definitely cheap jump scares. Also, a lot of our effects here are questionable. A lot of movement of people or just visual effects, some logic of like holy water. It gets a little bit much. So the effects are dodgy, and even some of the logic gets a little bit scarce as well. But honestly, I enjoyed the film. Being someone who is familiar with the tale of La Llorona, I was really excited heading in, and I think the film delivered on what I wanted it to deliver. It's definitely a mainstream horror that I think will satisfy horror fans. It has the jumps, it has the scares, it has the creepiness, all while paying homage to the original culture in which she comes. So if you're a horror fan, I say give La Llorona a full price ticket. And honestly, if you're familiar with the tale, I think they do a good enough job in creating a film around that tale that it also deserves a full price ticket. If you're looking for a bunch of gore and blood, maybe this isn't the film for you because it's not that. And honestly, I'm wondering how it got its R rating. It's a very mild R. So if that's either a detractor or an encouragement for you to go see the film, take that into account. Very, very mild R. So, that is my review of The Curse of La Llorona. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Curse of La Llorona? And are you familiar with this tale? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! No. 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 No.